In the 27th year of Jeroboam king of Israel, Azariah son of Amasiah king of Judah became king. He was a son of 16 years when he became king, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Kaliah of Jerusalem. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all the things that Amasiah his father had done. Yet he did not remove any of the high places. The people were still sacrificing and making incense offerings on the high places. And the Lord touched the king, and he was leprous to the day of his death. And he reigned from a separate house. And Joatham, the king's son, was in charge of the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the histories of Azariah and all that he did. Behold, are these things not written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Judah? And Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Joatham his son reigned in his stead. In the 38th year of Azariah king of Judah, Zechariah son of Jeroboam became king over Israel and Samaria for 6 months. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, just as his fathers had done. He did not depart from the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who made Israel sin. And Salum son of Jabes and Kiblam conspired against him. And they struck him and put him to death. And Salum reigned in his stead. And the rest of the histories of Zacharias, behold, they are written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Israel. The word of the Lord it was, that he spoke to Jehu, saying, 4 sons shall sit for you on the throne of Israel. And so it happened. And Salum son of Jabes became king. And in the 39th year of Azariah king of Judah, Salum reigned a month of days in Samaria. And Manahem son of Gadi went up from Tarsila, and came to Samaria. And he struck Salum son of Jabes in Samaria, and put him to death. And the rest of the histories of Salum, and his conspiracy that he conspired, behold, they are written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Israel. Then Manahem struck Tirzah, and all that was in it, and its territory from Tirzah on, because they did not open it to him, and he struck it and ripped open the pregnant women. In the 39th year of Azariah king of Judah, Manahem son of Gadi also became king over Israel for 10 years in Samaria. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not depart from any of the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who made Israel sin. In his days Phuel, king of the Assyrians, went up against the land, and Manahem gave Phuel 1,000 talents of silver, for his hand to be with him. And Manahem brought out the money against Israel, against every powerful man with strength, to give to the king of the Assyrians, 50 shekels for 1 man. And the Assyrians' king turned back, and did not stay there in the land. And the rest of the histories of Manahem, and all that he did, behold, are these things not written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Israel. And Manahem slept with his fathers, and Phakias his son reigned in his stead. In the 15th year of Azariah king of Judah, Phakias son of Manahem became king over Israel and Samaria for 2 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not depart from the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who made Israel sin. And Phaki son of Romalias, his number 3 man, conspired against him, and struck him in Samaria in front of the king's house, with Argob and with Ariah. And with him were 50 men from the 400. And he put him to death, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the histories of Phakias, and all that he did, behold, they are written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah king of Judah, Phaki son of Romalias became king over Israel and Samaria for 20 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not depart from any of the sins of Jeroboam son of Nebat, who made Israel sin. In the days of Phaki king of Israel, Thaglath-Phalasar king of the Assyrians came and took Ain, and Abel-Beth-Maachah, and Janach, and Kenez, and Hazor, and Galad and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali. And he exiled them to the Assyrians. And Hosea son of Elah conspired a conspiracy against Phachi son of Remalias, and struck him and put him to death. And he reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Joatham son of Azarias. And the rest of the histories of Phachi, and all that he did, behold, they are written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Israel. In the 2nd year of Phachi son of Remalias, king of Israel, Joatham son of Azarias, king of Judah, became king. He was a son of 25 years when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jerusa, daughter of Zadok. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Azarias his father had done. Yet he did not remove the high places. The people were still sacrificing and making incense offerings on the high places. He built the upper gate of the Lord's house. And the rest of the histories of Joatham and all that he did, are these things not written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Judah? In those days the Lord began to send out in Judah Rishon, king of Syria, and Phachi son of Remalias. And Joatham slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father, and Achaz his son reigned in his stead. In the 17th year of Phachi son of Remalias, Achaz son of Joatham king of Judah became king. Achaz was a son of 20 years when he became king, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And he did not faithfully do what was right in the sight of the Lord his God, as David his father did. But he walked in the way of Jeroboam son of Nebat, king of Israel. And indeed he conducted his son into fire, according to the abominations of the nations, whom the Lord drove out from before the sons of Israel. And he was sacrificing and making incense offerings on the high places, and on the hills and under every woodland tree. Then Rishon, king of Syria, went up, and Phachi son of Remalias, king of Israel, against Jerusalem to war. And they were laying siege against Achaz, but could not wage war. At that time Rishon, king of Syria, returned Eilath to Syria, and drove out the Judeans from Eilath. And the Idumeans came to Eilath and lived there to this day. And Achaz sent messengers to Thaglath-Phalasar, king of the Assyrians, saying, I am your slave and your son. Come up and rescue me from the hand of the king of Syria, and from the hand of the king of Israel, who are rising up against me. And Achaz took the silver and the gold that was found in the treasuries of the Lord's house, and the king's house, and sent presents to the king. And the Assyrians' king listened to him. And the Assyrians' king went up against Damascus, and captured it and exiled it, and he put Rishon to death. And King Achaz went to meet Thaglath-Phalasar, king of the Assyrians, in Damascus, and saw the altar in Damascus. And King Achaz sent to Urias the priest the likeness of the altar, and its pattern for its entire construction. And Urias the priest built the altar in accordance with all that King Achaz had sent from Damascus. And the king saw the altar, and went up on it, and burnt for smoke his whole burnt offering, and his sacrifice and his libation, and poured the blood of his peace items on the altar. And the bronze altar that was before the Lord he also brought forward from the front of the house of the Lord, from the one between the altar, and the one between the house of the Lord, and put it near the thigh of the altar on the north. And King Achaz commanded Urias the priest, saying, Upon the great altar offer the morning whole burnt offering, and the evening sacrifice, and the whole burnt offering of the king, and his sacrifice, and the whole burnt offering of all the people, and their sacrifice and their libation. And you shall pour on it all blood of whole burnt offering, and all blood of sacrifice, and the bronze altar shall be for me in the morning. And Urias the priest did according to everything that King Achaz commanded him. And King Achaz cut off the borders of the Mechanoth, and removed the washbasin from them. And he took down the sea from the bronze oxen that were under it, and put it on a stone pediment. And he built the foundation of the seat in the Lord's house, and he turned the outer entrance of the king in the Lord's house from before the Assyrians' king. And the rest of the histories of Achaz, what he did, are these things not written in a book of histories of the days for the kings of Judah. And Achaz slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David, and Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Achaz, king of Judah, Hoshea son of Elah became king in Samaria over Israel for 9 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, yet not like the kings of Israel who were before him. Salmanasar, king of the Assyrians, went up against him, and Hoshea became his slave and returned to him manna. And the Assyrians' king found injustice in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to Segor, king of Egypt, and brought no manna to the king of the Assyrians in that year. And the king of the Assyrians besieged him, and bound him in a prison house. And the king of the Assyrians went up in all the land, and went up against Samaria, and laid siege against it for 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea the Assyrians' king captured Samaria, and he exiled Israel to the Assyrians, and made them dwell in Halai and in Habor, at rivers of Gozan and Or of Medes. And it happened, because the sons of Israel had sinned against the Lord, their God, who had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. And they feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the nations whom the Lord drove out from before the sons of Israel, both the kings of Israel, as many as did it, and the sons of Israel, as many as clothed themselves with words, not just against the Lord their God. And they built for themselves high places in all their towns, from tower for watchers to strong city, and they erected for themselves steles, and sacred groves on every high hill, and under every woodland tree. And there they made incense offerings on all high places, just as the nations whom the Lord exiled from before them. And they made partners and engraved to provoke the Lord to anger. And they served the idols of which the Lord had said to them, You shall not do this thing to the Lord. And the Lord testified in Israel and in Judah, by the hand of all his prophets, every seer saying, Turn away from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, and all the law that I commanded your fathers, which I sent to you by the hand of my slaves the prophets. But they did not listen, but hardened their back more than the back of their fathers. And his testimonies that he testified to them, they did not keep, but went after the worthless things, and were rendered worthless, and after the nations that were around them, of whom he had commanded them not to do in accordance with these. They forsook the commandments of the Lord their God, and made for themselves something cast, 2 heifers, and made sacred groves, and did obeisance to all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they conducted their sons and their daughters into fire. And they were divining and practicing ornithomancy. And they were sold to do what was evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. And the Lord became very angry with Israel, and removed them from his face, and none was left except Judah's tribe alone. And indeed Judah did not keep the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they practiced. And they rejected the Lord among all the offspring of Israel. And he shook them and gave them into the hand of those who plundered them, until he had banished them from his presence, for only Israel was from upon David's house. And they made Jeroboam son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove out Israel from before the Lord, and made them sin great sin. And the sons of Israel walked in all the sin of Jeroboam that he committed. They did not depart from it, until the Lord removed Israel from his sight, just as the Lord had spoken by the hand of all his slaves the prophets. And Israel was exiled from upon its own land to the Assyrians until this day. And the Assyrians' king brought from Babylon the people from Cuntha, and from Aiah, and from Hamath, and Sephuraim, and they were made to dwell in the cities of Samaria instead of the sons of Israel. And they took possession of Samaria and dwelt in its cities. And it happened at the beginning of their sitting, that they did not fear the Lord, and the Lord sent lions among them, and they were killing among them. And they told the king of the Assyrians, saying, The nations that you exiled, and placed instead in the cities of Samaria, did not know the judgment of the God of the land, and he sent lions against them. And behold, they are putting them to death, because they do not know the judgment of the God of the land. And the king of the Assyrians commanded, saying, Bring from yonder, and let them go and dwell there, and they shall enlighten them about the judgment of the God of the land. And they brought one of the priests whom they had exiled from Samaria, and he stayed in Bethel, and he was enlightening them how they should fear the Lord. And nations by nations were making their own gods, and they put them in the house of the high places that the Samaritans had made, nations in their cities, them in which they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Baneath, and the men of Cuth made Nerigel, and the men of Hamath made Asemoth, and the Uites made Eblazer, and Tartak. And the Sepharvaim burned up their sons in fire to Adremelech and Anemelech, gods of Sepharvaim. And they were fearing the Lord, and they caused their abominations to dwell in the houses of the high places, that they had made in Samaria, nation by nation in a city, that in which they dwelt, and they were fearing the Lord. And they made for themselves priests of the high places, and they acted for them in the house of the high places. They were fearing the Lord and serving their own gods, according to the judgment of the nations, there where he had exiled them. To this day they were acting according to their judgment. They fear and they act according to their statutes, and according to their judgment, and according to the law, and according to the commandment that the Lord commanded the sons of Jacob, him whose name he made Israel. And the Lord had made a covenant with them and commanded them, saying, You shall not fear other gods, and you shall not do obeisance to them, and you shall not serve them, and you shall not sacrifice to them, but only to the Lord, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great strength and with a high arm. Him you shall fear, and to him you shall do obeisance, and to him you shall sacrifice. And the statutes and the judgments and the law and the commandments that he wrote for you, be careful to observe them all the days, and you shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that he made with you, you shall not forget. And you shall not fear other gods, but only the Lord your God you shall fear. And he will deliver you from all your enemies, and you shall not listen to their judgment that they practice. But these nations were fearing the Lord, and they were subject to their carved images. And indeed the sons and the sons of their sons do to this day as their fathers did.